Welcome guys to a brand new video. My name is Ryan and we are here for episode 4 of our Dirt Rally career mode, where we're in the second round of the Clubman Championship at Lydden Hill in England. Back to this track where it all began for us in episode 1. And I'm going to leave a little cheeky announcement to say at the end of the video, but I'll say it right now. We're at the end of this season. Would you like me to do a different car class in Rallycross? Let me know, I'll explain at the end. But we're here for race 1 of round 2 and away we go, and we get a poor start. Once again, I need to really nail the starts in future races for us there. But we've got Hughes in here, who we had a great battle with the last time we were here, if I believe so. As we are not on the junior layout, we are on the Clubman layout. So before we went right here, we're going to continue. Looks like we're going to be doing the full course layout, but just after this corner, we're going to be taking a very tight right-handed hairpin corner, where you can get it right there. As you can see, we're right on the back now with Petit, with Hughes leading and Tonio, I don't know how to pronounce that name. It's probably Greek. He's done his Joker lap already, as no one's going to... We're going to be following Petit then, going into the Joker lap here on lap number 2. Remember, if you're new to Rallycross, you have to take this line, which is the Joker lap, once during the race. If you don't, you get penalised. And if also as well, there are 4 qualifying races, and the top 12 at the end will qualify for the semi-finals, and the positions are based on your total lap time in each of the 4 races on there as well. So I'll explain it once we get to the end of this first one here. But at the end of the second lap, we're last, so I was a bit disappointed really with the pace, considering that this track is basically the same as the junior layout, except for a tighter hairpin corner. But most of the track is still the same, so I was a bit off on some of the lines, as there we nail that turn 1 perfectly on there. So we gained a bit of time now on Petit, and all 4 of us have taken the Joker lap before the final lap. So Hughes has got a commanding lead of 3.5 seconds to the rest of us, as we're going to try and go around the outside there. Bit of contact there with Petit in his Peugeot, but no way of getting through there, so we have to stay put at this stage. And we have a bit of a tank slapper going out of that corner, pushing us a bit wide, nearly avoiding the curb there. We're going to cross the grass there, but we get away with a corner cut warning on there as we start the final lap of race 1. And you can see we just nailed this corner perfectly onto that tarmac. There's a bit of advice for you guys. If you want to get a good line out of that corner, you need to at least get all 4 wheels on the tarmac section of that corner, and you get a fantastic exit there. We're going to try and go down the inside of Petit there, and then we will be hooked to the outside for the final corner, which we do so. Pushes a bit wide there, does Petit. A bit of revenge there for what we did to him, and again, bit of contact there, which pushed us wide, and we will lose out to 3rd, and we will come home in 4th place. And I tried to do a bit of a jump there for you guys, just a bit of an accidental line there, but we come home in last. Really wasn't a bit of a poor performance. Probably my worst race I've done so far in the series, I'm going to be completely honest, apart from the jump starts. Anyway, we're here for race number 2. It's the same 4 once again for race 2, and it's the lights down, away we go. And immediately we will take the Joker lap, as all 3 decided to, one of them decided to late call it and go straight onto the normal line. So we will take it, which means less traffic for us as well if we're coming in at the same time with anyone else. So I think it was a good strategy call by myself, just to get some clean air and push ready and improve on my lines and braking zones from the first race, which was a bit disappointing. My pace was off as well, as we overall finished 4th in that race from the other 3 races that happened in the first qualifying rounds. But in this race, we're going to be focusing more on trying to get our lines right and keeping a decent amount of pace, keeping it average on these last 3 laps, as 2 of them, Petit and Hughes, will take their Joker laps now, as we will be nailing that corner. As you can see, we've jumped both of them already from the Joker lap, so we did pretty well there. And that's what happens when you're in traffic. The car behind will be checking up, and then the car may make a mistake in front of him, and that's what happens basically on there. So we're up to 2nd place, as we're going to be going now on to the end of lap 2, going on to lap number 3 here in Lydden Hill for the second round of the championship. As I'm trying to really maintain the pace and try and get a decent amount of championship points, as the leader now takes his Joker lap. And are we going to take the lead of this race? Again, a perfect line, and that has paid off beautifully, as we have now taken the lead of the race with only 2 laps to go, and it's been an intriguing battle so far. The strategy call of doing our Joker lap first has definitely paid off for us, as we're going to be now going into this hairpin section, going a tad wide on the mid-entry to the corner, which has really not put us off a bit there, as we're going to try and take that beautifully, which we do as we start the final lap of this race. And can we take our first win here at Lydden Hill at the race meeting. And we get 2 wheels on there, just pushes a bit wide there, but nothing too major. But we maintain the gap around about 4 tenths of a second to second place, and only 2 tenths behind him is Petit and Hughes. So it's really close really, this top 4. Really exciting stuff here as we come to the hairpin for the final time. And we take a bit of a wider entry, but which does pay off there. Maybe went too down on the gears and braked too much, which bogged us down slightly. But we're going to come now out of the final section here, and we're going to take the win in race number 2. Quite comfortably actually, by about 1.5 seconds from the car behind. A 22.25.4 is a pretty decent time. As you can see, we do get the fastest lap in the race, which I was quite happy with actually. So full 50 points on the board for us, as we will go now on to race number 3, which will be coming up very shortly. But overall 3rd in the qualifying, so bit better improvement I will say, as we're going to be going on to race number 3. And once again it's the same 4 drivers again, so never had that so far in the series, so it's always good to know what your competitors are like and know what their strategy is. So once again, we go for our same strategy as we did in the second race, but Hughes has joined us, I think, or Petit, in the Joker lap as well. So that wasn't what I really wanted, but at least it's only 1 car and not more than 1. So I can take that as a bit beneficial, but it could be a bit bad as well. As Petit had an actual great exit out of the Joker there, so he pulled a bit of a gap to us. And then we just took a very cautious line through there, knowing that Petit's there, just to learn what the perfect line is around there with traffic. So we'll see how that goes as we're going on to lap number 2 once again here, as we take a bit of a curb there, just pushes a bit wide there and a bit of a tank slapper, but we get away with it, as Hughes now, I believe, is taking his Joker lap right now, and he's just going to pop out just ahead of us there. So he's gained a bit on us, so it's a bit of a deja vu from the second race. It's the opposite of Petit and Hughes jumping us in the Joker laps, as the leader is still going ahead, and he will probably be taking his Joker up very shortly as we make slight contact with our fellow Englishman of Hughes. We're trying to go on the outside of him, but it's just not really worth it. The outside line is not the ideal line round here at the hairpin. You've got to get that line absolutely spot on if you're going to make a pass there. And we take a bit of curb there, and we go completely off the track, hitting the Monster Energy billboard there, and we get a warning from the stewards, which will consider if we're going to get a penalty or not. And I was quite concerned here, so I was going to just push now, not do any cuts and try and gain something from this, as the leader actually does make his Joker lap. So Petit leads this race in number 3 from Papan and Hughes ahead, who's actually holding, it's a bit of a train here, Petit's bringing up here, so it's bringing me back into contention of some decent finishes there. But I know with a penalty looming, I need to get a decent time on the board, so we won't lose as many positions as possible. But that was the first big mistake of the race meeting that I've done so far here, so I didn't really want to do that and hit that curb, because that happens. You can either get flipped over or you get pushed wide onto the grass and you have to take a corner cut warning. So not what you really want to get, but honest, I was just really pushing now just to stay with these guys, so I won't lose too much ground when it comes to the overall standings after race number 3, because points matter. And as I said, the top 12 go through to the semi-finals, and it looks pretty comfortable we will be, but I wasn't really sure as we crossed the line and coming in last, so I was a bit disappointed from the win we had in race number 2 to come back with there. And we did get a penalty sadly, so we dropped to second last on there with 29 points. So I was a bit annoyed with that really, that I made that one mistake by going over the curb there and it flung us wide. But maintainingly, we are still 4th, and we're safely into the for the semi-final at Lydden Hill, as we're now building for the final race. And once again, for the first time in this series, all 4 drivers from the first race are still in the same qualifying race, which is quite amazing on there. And all 3 there pull to the right there, going to do the normal line as we take the Joker lap on our own for the second time in this event. And we take a beautiful line through the Joker there. I think that's the first time I actually nailed it perfectly on there. So we haven't lost that much time to the guys up front. We're only 3.5 seconds off the lead, and you can just see them there. So I was quite happy with that decent start we had. So a bit of a cheeky drift there with the handbrake there. And I haven't actually got a sequential gears on here or a handbrake, so I had to use a button on the wheel, which proves to be difficult, I will say that. So I'll have to show it maybe in a future video on there. But we'll see how it goes here, as 2 of them will be taking their Joker laps. I think it's Petit and Hughes taking their lines. And with that perfect line there, we get a bit of grass there, as someone pops up there, it's Hughes, and we just make a bit of contact there, nothing too major, and we get past Petit as well. So we just nailed that line perfectly. We would have sailed into second place comfortably, but we just got ahead of Hughes on there. as we're going to be braking now into the hairpin. And that's a perfect hairpin line there. Bit of a cheeky handbrake as well, just to get the car turning beautifully. And we will hold on to second place as we start lap number 3 of 4 in this final race of qualifying here. As Papan will go into the Joker lap now, as our engineer has informed us. And we take a bit of a tighter line into turn 1 here. And we absolutely nail it just about. And more importantly, we take the lead of the race as well. Hughes just behind in third. Nearly got ahead of Papan there, but he didn't really get ahead of him. It would be nice to get a British one too, but we'll have to wait and see. As we just get a bit of oversteer there through the hairpin, so we lost a bit of time. As he's right on the back now is Papan. As it's going to be very close here as we start the final lap of this qualifying round. We know we're already through to the to the semi-finals, but can we get through comfortably with a win on the board? And we nearly hit that curb there, that barrier where the Joker lap ends, so I was very lucky there. If we hit that, it would have been game over, really, of a chance of a victory here. But we're going to just brake now into 4th gear, taking it in 4th instead of 3rd, and taking a bit of a tighter entry into the hairpin, and we just about nailed it perfectly there. But it seems that we're going to be crossing the line to win the final race, so we've got 2 wins in our bag here from the qualifying stages, which is very good to go through to the semi-finals and final stages on there. And a decent time as well we got there, a 2:26.1. Not too shabby there from us. And as you can see, we again did not get the fastest lap. We're only 2/10 off the best time, which was done by Papan, the Greek driver in his Renault Clio. And look at that, I just want to mention as well, lots of Peugeots in here and a couple of Renault Clios, so, and a Corsa as well. But anyway, we qualified 4th overall, and we are into the semi-finals. We are in the top split, I feel, if I remember, for this final. As the revs are building now for the semi-final, and away we go. And it's a decent start there. I wanted to do the Joker lap, so I went slightly to the left, and we were on the first lane, so we were fine with that. As we are joined actually by 2 other people for the Joker lap as well, and we nail it as well. And there's a bit of contact from behind as well between, I think it was Rusinov and Martin as well, and Evans as well came in as well on there. So we've got Petit with us as we'll be going into it. It's the same principle as well, 4-lap race as always, as we'll be braking now into the hairpin once again, and we get away with it beautifully there, I will say that on there. So Petit and Conti have not done their Joker laps yet, as they are currently leading the race, them two. As funny enough, one of them is in, I think it's Petit, I think is in, or it could be, I think it's Conti actually. Conti does take his Joker lap and just about pops ahead of us there, just about, and we've got Rusino as well right behind us there. So it's very close between all 4 of us here. It's going to be very close, this semi-final. It's one of the closest races I've had so far at this meeting. And we just hit the back of Conti there, just letting him know that we are there. And we are going to pressure him into a mistake on there. As we are halfway through this race of the semi-final. We're going to be crossing the line right now. And it's a decent lap as well. Low 34 is pretty good for us on there. So we're going to take a perfect line there into turn 1. And Petit there getting a lot of airborne there out of the Joker lap, and he's lost the grip on there, which means Conti gets past him and takes the lead of the race on there. And that was a lot of flight there from Petit. We're going to go down his inside, actually leaves the door open, and we will move up to second place. But we're going to nearly leave the door open there for Petit to get past us, but we hold the line nicely, and we're still in second place as we're going to start the final lap here at Linden Hill of the semi-final. And it looks like Conti's going to be safely through to the final, as we are still holding off. Remember, only the top 3 go through to the final, and in the second group, the top 3 as well. So it's going to be very close. This is between me, Rusino, and Petit. And Petit's actually lost out there from his Joker lap, so that mistake, that bit of airborne, may have damaged his car slightly as we go into the hairpin for the final time of semi-final 1. And Petit there just trying to get past him there, but he just can't get it done. And Conti will win the semi-final. We're going to come home in second place just about from Rusino, who will be going through as well. And Petit just misses out on a final spot on there. But another 2:26 for us there, which is pretty decent, I'll say, on there. And Conti got the fastest lap of 34 flat on there. So a lot to take in there. As we're here now for the final of round 2 here at Linden Hill, and the lights are on, and away we go for the final. We're in third place on the grid. This is going to be an interesting race here, as there's a lot of quick drivers here, as we are on the way. About 4 of the top 3 are on their Joker laps, and the other 3 are in for the Joker laps. And there's been contact behind between Rusino and Olsen, which give us a bit of a push there as well. So we got a nice jump over that hill back onto the track, and the top three are all nicely packed as well. We've got Hughes in here, Mercy and Conti leading the way once again as he did in the semi-final. But would he maintain that? We'll have to wait and see. As remember, in the final it's a 6-lap race, not a 4-lap race, just to spice things up a bit and make Joker laps interesting as well, and makes drivers think when to do it. As Hughes and Mercier will take their Joker laps now, where are we going to come out when they make their one? There's a perfect line from us there. We jump up to 3rd, just ahead of Hughes there, and Mercier had a massive tank slapper going over the jump there. So this could be our chance. We're going to try and hook it round the outside of Mercier going into this corner. And can we get it done? We do it brilliantly round the outside, and we're up to 2nd place, and we need to hold that line. Nicely done, and we do indeed. That's a fantastic move from us there, and we're up to 2nd place on there. And Mercier gives us a bit of a nudge there, and we go sideways, but we managed to hold it nicely on there. That was very close to that, and great racing as well. Rallycross is a really competitive sport, and I absolutely loved it, so it's really good to see that as well on there. So we're coming now on to the halfway distance of this race, with Conti still leading the right way of about, I would probably say about half a second. Well, it's not half a second because I think the timings are wrong, which I think is a bit of a bug with the game on there, saying about half a second, but he's about 4 seconds up the road on there. And as you can see, apparently we're only 2 tenths behind, so I don't understand that. But anyway, on to the second half of this final, and I think Conti is still going out there. He's not taking his Joker lap. As you saw there, we take a nice line there, just clipping the barrier there on the inside line. So we lost a bit of time, but nothing too major. And once again, we're doing consistent times with 34.1. So I was quite happy with that, with this pace, and we'll see how we go on there. Gaining a little bit on Conti, but nothing too big, to say the least. So it might be close between us once he takes his Joker lap, which should be coming up any time now, as we've only got 2 laps to go in this final. And Conti again still goes round, so he has to take his Joker lap next lap, or he will get a time penalty, which would be nice because we would win the race if we can hold off Mercier, who's 3 tenths behind. So I was really pushing as much as possible to try and gain as much as possible on Conti and see if we can do anything on there. And we are luckily slowly gaining, as I said, maybe a tenth or 2, but that's not enough. We need a second. We need seconds to gain on there, because I think you lose about 3 to 4 seconds on the Joker lap, so I really need to push it, and he does do the Joker lap right now, so we need to take a nice line here to gain anything. There is Conti jumping over there. We get the tarmac line perfect there, so we've gained a bit of time. It's about half a second now. I'll probably say a half a second to a second gap between us and Conti, so I really wanted to brake as late as possible, get the perfect lines right. And we do there. There's a bit of a door opening there, but it's just too much angle there to make a pass. And Conti will hold off ourselves, and he will win this meeting at Lydden Hill. But we will come home for another 2nd place, which I will definitely take there. And a very positive input into the championship standings as well on there. And we'll be going to the final round of the championship feeling confident of winning this championship. So that will be the end of this episode, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy that. I did as well. And I just want to leave a comment below here for you guys. Would you like to see me do a different car? I could do classic or stick with these cars. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll do a vote in the next episode for on there. And if would you like me to see face cam as well for the new season, that would be fantastic as well. So let me know in the comments below. But until then, guys, have a fantastic day whatever you're doing, and I shall see you for the final round of the Clubman Championship decider. Here we are, as we are leading the championship by a point from 2 people, so it's going to be very close there. But until then, guys, I hope to see you soon. Take care.